Hey everybody. Been a little bit since we've been on. My apologies. Been a little crazy around here. Have some people in town and well, one excuse after another, but my apologies. Our last video looked like some people watched that, so that's great because above anything else that we do, we talk about, if it's prepper stuff, if it's news, whatever it is, God is always a central focal point in everything that we do. A lot of this ties back into end time prophecies, Matthew 24, into the book of Revelation. Talk about a 3.5 year tribulation. I know that's going to hit some people wrong. If we look back at Daniel, and he was talking about that the Antichrist will broker a deal. That's not exactly what it says. It says that he will confirm a deal for 7 days. In the middle of that 70th week, or in the middle of that 7 days, he will walk into the third temple and declare himself God, which is what the Bible tells us he's going to do. It tells us in the book of Revelation that in the middle of the 70th week, he will walk in and the Great Tribulation will start when he declares himself God. Now, a lot of people believe there's a 7-year tribulation. I am not one of those people. I used to. But the first half of Daniel's week, there's not a lot known about it. There's not really hardly anything known about it other than Daniel saying that there's, this 7-year period. And in the middle of the 7 years, he confirms a peace treaty. Now, he confirms, that doesn't mean he writes it. It just means he confirms it, okay? You got your deal, we're confirming it, we're ready to go. So we're just confirming that and moving on. But in the middle of that is where he walks into the temple, declares himself God. And we're not going to know who the Antichrist is before that. You'll have speculations. You'll be like, oh yeah, look, maybe him. But we won't really know until he walks in and confirms himself or tells the world that he is God. And then, for lack of a better way to say it, all hell's going to break loose. But we'll start today with some news from Russia today. Gaza aid group backed by U.S. and Israel acted as cover for killings, ex-volunteer, says Anthony Aguilar. A peace plan with 28 points and 100 pitfalls. What comes next for Ukraine? Anytime that you get into something like this, neither side's going to be 100% happy. Neither side is going to get exactly what they want. The only way that that's going to happen is when the side brokering the peace deal has completely annihilated the other side, and they have left them with no will to fight. They have left them nothing to fight with. So, but at this point, Ukraine is not going to, and Ukraine's front lines are collapsing. And Russia would have taken that country a long time ago if it had not been for the aid that the U.S. and the EU have come to their rescue. I don't think that any peace plan is going to work with the Ukraine when it involves them being ushered into NATO, which is what they want. So they can invoke Article 5, brings NATO up to speed on everything, or not up to speed, but to the forefront of everything. And then it gets NATO onto a full-on war footing, not just playing in the background. And they're not really playing in the background now, but they just don't have their full armies on the front line fighting the Russians. You invoke Article 5, and it's been invoked for, and NATO never followed through with it. So I don't know how much NATO is really going to follow through with this, other than I believe some of the NATO countries are itching for a war with Russia. Why would you want a war with a nuclear power the size of Russia? You know, I've listened to analysts before, and they said, well, Russia should have taken that country in 3 weeks. Russia would have definitely taken that country in 3 months had nobody stepped in. And that's the point they don't ever bring back up. Oh, they should have done this, they should have done that. They would have. They absolutely would have taken that country in probably less than 6 months. I said 3, probably no more than 6. At the outside, if nobody had stepped in and helped the Ukrainians. They didn't have any will to fight, or not a will to fight. They didn't have anything to fight with. Not to match the Russian power. You know, the first year and a half of that war, Russia just used up old stock. Another thing nobody wants to tell you. Some will. But they're going through, they're putting themselves on a war footing for the war that's coming with the EU. When that's going to happen, I don't know. But it's coming. There are leaders of countries that want this war to happen. And I've always found it funny that the people that want the war to happen are the people that never put that rucksack on and go do that force march to the front line and pick up a battle rifle and fire it. Those are the people that want to fight. The dudes that actually do that are like, yeah, maybe we don't want to do that. You know, maybe it's something, maybe we just going to do something else. How about we flip for it? You know, I mean, you know, it's been this way since the beginning of time. At least in the beginning of time, let's look at King David. King David was in the middle of it. Kings back then fought. Now? You can't get a 4-star on the line half the time. They're not going to go out there. I might get shot. Yeah, well, I might get shot too. But that didn't stop you from sending me. Just my little rant. I'm sorry. Just, it aggravates the life out of me. South Africa hands over the G20 presidency. The G20 is the group of the 20 largest economic countries in the world. Trump's dilemma: make peace with Moscow or prop up the EU's delusions. And there's the other thing. And let's be perfectly honest with this. If it wasn't for the United States, the EU wouldn't have been able to stay in this thing as long as it has either, because they ain't got no money either. And half their militaries are a shell of what they used to be, to put it nicely. Peace will only come when Kiev accepts reality. I believe that is a very true statement. Let's see what's happening on our other war front, the Gazan Strip. Imperial Israel in the New Middle East. Oh, that's something from the New York Times. I don't know. Keep my mouth shut. Israel returns 15 more Palestinian bodies to Gaza after first phase of ceasefire nears an end. Part of that ceasefire is Hamas disarming. Does anybody in their right mind think that's ever going to happen? Raise your hand if you do. If you're out there somewhere and you're sitting around, you're like, yep. I think that's going to happen. It's not going to happen. Hezbollah mourns top commander killed in Israel strike. you're going to have Hezbollah and Hamas disarm. Okay. Turkey spends $6.5 billion to boost Steel Dome in the air defense amid Israel tensions. So Turkey, the old Ottoman Empire, by the way, spent $6.5 billion. The Times of Israel. IDF chief, Israel needs bold leadership that recognizes failure, doesn't frighten or evade. Okay? IDF says 4 Hamas operatives killed, 2 captured while trying to flee tunnel under Rafah. Hamas health minister confirms Israel returned bodies of 15 Gazans in accordance with ceasefire. All right, we already saw that. An Arab Israel woman was indicted for Facebook post apparently praising Hamas after October the 7th. Well, they clearly don't have free speech. Ours is fading fast. They don't have it in the. They don't have free speech in the. In most European countries either. So. There's a lot of killing going on in the midst of this ceasefire. Just saying. Just perusing down through here. We are at risk of losing our capacity to establish the facts of what is unfolding around us, and pretty soon we may give up trying. Journalism and the disappearance of the truth with AI. I told you. My wife and I talked about this the other day. The deception is going to become so great, and it's already started. She said, sometimes I have a hard time figuring out what's real and what's not real with AI. Now you have to do a very close analysis. You can hear speech patterns and that sort of thing to kind of say, nope, that's a computer talking. That's not that person talking. But it will learn speech patterns for every dialect, every region of the country's, nation's, world. It's going to learn all that. And we have just turned it loose. It's everywhere now. I mean, most of you know I'm a history teacher, and we have gotten to a point, even in school, in this short amount of time, to where they are just at a rapid pace installing AI into our classrooms with different things that we do, where they allow children to use these AI stuff, and if they don't use it, they can't keep up. Even in the short amount of time, in the 6 or 8 months since all this got introduced into our school system, it has taken on that fast. Can you imagine what it's going to be like in 5 years? I had a conversation with my principal. He said, they just wanted to see if it was possible. They took information and had, I don't know, it was Chat GPT, or which engine it was, but they put in some information and had this AI kick it out, right? Write a paper. They ran it through the fact-checking, plagiarism stuff that they have online for, like, most universities. Like, if you take an online course, you have to run it through. I know when I got my grad degree, it was Loprite or whatever it was called. And it'll kick it out and say, nope, you use too much of this. It's too much plagiarized. If it's over like 15% or something, you can't use it. It kicks it back out. This thing used it, and there was nothing. It was an original paper. It was everything, and it was good to go. And I'm going, so if I'm in grad school, and all I've got to do is go boop, 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 kick me out a 20-page paper on this. Here's the parameters I want the paper written on. Or a 10-page paper, or kick me out 1,000 words on this, and this subject. It's going to kick it out in 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes. I'm sitting there. So instead of me spending a week or 3 or 4 days working on this project, I can spend 5 minutes on it and go do something else, and you're going to give me a degree saying, hey, he has a master's degree in history. He is now a historian. I mean, come on, people. That's just flat out cheating. You can call it whatever you want to, but that's what it is. Let's see. Fox News. High school coach fugitive mystery deepens as online posts hint at a wider scandal. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, and most of you, if you've been a member of the channel for a little bit, you know I coach football as well. We had an undefeated season, by the way, this year. Kids did a fantastic job. There was a high school coach in Virginia that went missing, and he was starting his first round of playoffs, and he just disappeared. Well, now all of a sudden it comes out that the FBI was looking for him because he had materials on his computer that he wasn't supposed to have. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna get into speculation there, but just what it is. DHS brass slammed Virginia Beach principal accused in chilling plot to lure and ambush ICE agents. My son lives in Charlotte. He works up there. And he said that ICE has been all over Charlotte looking, whatever ICE does, looking for illegals. And he said it's a very eerie thing going on because you have people that are just, you're riding down the road and you got ICE agents walking up and down the road, knocking on doors, whatever they're doing, trying to find these people, looking for these people. I assume they have a list of who they're looking for. Might be a mainstay one day. Just saying. Might be a mainstay. State of Georgia moves to drop all charges in Fulton County's election case involving Trump. That was all hogwash to begin with anyway. Or most of it. They took a little thread and they just ran with it, so whatever. Thailand shuts down iris scanning biometric operations tied to Sam Altman's WorldCoin. That guy defrauded a whole lot of people. Republicans aren't actually interested in shrinking government. There's no sides of the coin that are interested in shrinking government. It doesn't matter who it is. It really doesn't. You're just grasping at straws if you think that's the case. NATO member Bulgaria down to 1 month gasoline reserve due to Russia sanctions. Russia sanctions hurt the people that Russia was giving oil and stuff to. Sanctions are designed to apply external pressure onto the country you put the sanctions on. You didn't hurt Russia, you hurt Bulgaria. Ultimately, you hurt the Bulgarian people, the common people. The teachers that are getting up going to work, the people that are going to work in the factories, the police officers, the firefighters over there, whatever they're, the shopkeepers and owners and whoever they are, the farmers over there, those are the people that you hurt. You didn't hurt the government officials. You didn't hurt the government of Russia. You didn't. You hurt common people when you do this, and government officials don't seem to understand that. And they do it for a reason. They say, well, okay, well, if we squeeze them, then they'll put pressure on their government to do something else. I think a lot of times you just end up hardening the people. I think a lot of times sanctions have a reverse effect. We've had so many sanctions on Iran over the years that the Iranian people are just hard as a rock by now. Let's see here. I should have had this pulled up earlier. My apologies to you people. Let's see here. I want to read something to you. It goes into what we were talking about earlier. Before we read our daily devotional, and I'll jump off of here. Then Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came up to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said to them, "Do you not see all these things? Assuredly, I say to you, not one stone shall be left here upon another that shall not be thrown down." Sorry, I had an ad pop up. Signs of the times. Now as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us when these things will be, and what will be the sign of your coming at the end of the age." Notice he didn't say the end of the earth. He said the end of the age. Jesus comes back and reigns for another 1,000 years after the after the Great Tribulation. There's a millennial reign of Christ for 1,000 years where he says he's going to come back and rule with a rod of iron. And there will be people saved in there, and there will be people unsaved in there. I don't know exactly how all that works. I'm just telling you what it says. Jesus answered and said to them, but we'll see, we'll look at this. Take heed that no one deceives you. What were you talking about AI? If you do not think the great deception is going to come from AI, I'm not a gambling man, but if I was, that's where I'd put my money. For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ. Sounds like the Antichrist when he walks into the third temple. And will deceive many. Many people will believe that he is Christ. He is God incarnate coming back. Remember, the Jews don't believe that Jesus came back. Jesus was the Son of God. They don't believe that. And you hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilence, that's disease, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. That's just the beginning. We ain't even got into it yet. We just at the surface. We at the door knocking. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you. You will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Never understood why you want to hate Christians. We're just saying, hey, you know why? This is what I believe. Now, this is strictly my belief. People don't like Christians because they don't want somebody telling them what they're doing is wrong. Walk up to a Christian who you knew is doing something wrong and tell them and see what kind of reaction you get. If they're a true Christian, if they truly have the Word of God in them, they'll take the correction and thank you for it. Thank you. I just needed to hear that. If they're not, Ooh, they will get fighting mad. And then many will be offended, will betray one another, and will hate one another. He's talking about dividing families. Husband, wife, sisters, brothers, uncles, aunts, second cousin twice removed. Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many, and because lawlessness will be abound, the love of many will wax cold. Tell me if any of this sounds familiar. And I'm only reading from one gospel. I haven't read from Luke or Mark. Luke 21 and Mark 13. And I generally get those backwards, so if they're backwards, don't crucify me. And if Mark, because I know there's a big thing about, oh, well, Matthew was written for this group of people and Mark was written for this group of people. At the end of Mark said, I say to all, watch. All. I'm telling everybody who can hear me and understand what I'm saying, all watch. So it kind of throws that theory right out the window. But he who endures to the end shall be saved, and the gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations. Then the end will come. Therefore, now we're at Matthew 15. Therefore, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, talked about that earlier, standing in the holy place, whoever reads, let him understand. Then let those who are in Judah flee to the mountains. Let him who is on the housetop not come down and take anything out of the house. Let him who is in the field not go back to get his clothes. But woe to those who are pregnant, to those who are nursing babies in those days. And pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Sabbath. The Jews won't travel on the Sabbath more than about a mile, I think. I hope I have that right. If I have that wrong, I apologize. But I know they will not travel very far on the Sabbath. For then there will be great tribulation, such has not been seen since the beginning of the world until this time. No, nor shall ever be. Now, I have a question, and I'm just posing this question. He's talking about this stuff right here related to Judah, right? Let those who are in Judah flee to the mountains. Which means the third temple's got to be built there somewhere, because he's directly talking to those people at that time. Then there will be great tribulation, such as not been seen since the beginning of the world until this time, nor shall ever be. And unless those days were not shortened, no flesh shall be saved. But for the elect's sake, who are the elect? We are. Those days will be shortened. If anyone says to you, look, here is Christ, or there, do not believe it. For false Christs, false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. So he's telling you now. Not good. Therefore, if you say, look, he is in the desert, do not go out. Look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will be the coming of the Son of Man be. For whoever the carcass is, there the eagles will be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven will be shaken. Did he say anything in there about, hey, if you're a Christian, don't worry about none of this, because I'm going to rapture you out? He did not say a single word about that, did he? He actually said that if you will be hunted down and hated for my name's sake. You will be killed if they caught you for my name's sake. If they catch you, excuse me. He didn't say anything about a pre-tribulation rapture, did he? Not a single nary a word. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, There will be the tribes on earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming out of the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Amen. And we will send his angels with a great sound of a trump. Now, if you go back and look at Thessalonians, it talks about the great trumpet. And they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Now learn this parable from the fig tree. When its branches have already become tender, puts forth leaves, you will know that the summer is near. Okay, so you see it starting to come out, weather starts to warm. Oh, summer's right down the road. So you will also, when you see all these things, know that it is near at the doors. Assuredly, I say to you, this generation will not pass away till all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away. But at that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, but only my Father. Only God knows when he's planning on sending Jesus back. We can see the signs. We see the signs. Everything's going on. You're like, okay, I know he's coming. Know he's coming. I just don't know the day or the hour. But I got to get ready. Because I know he's coming. It didn't say anything about him coming to get anybody before this. Nowhere. But as the days of Noah, and I'm not trying to get into a biblical argument with anyone. I'm just telling you what, comes from the New King James Version of the Bible. All I'm doing is telling you exactly what it says. If you're somebody who believes in a pre-tribulation rapture, go for it. I believe you are wrong, and I believe you have been lied to. And I'm sorry for that. But as the days of Noah were, so also will be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying, giving in to marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark. So everything in life was rolling along. They were probably making fun of Noah. It took him 100 years to build the ark. And he was like 800 years old when he started it. Or however old he was. I don't know if that's what it was. I know he was very old. I don't think he was quite that old, but I know he was old. Do not know until the flood, and did not know until the flood came and took them away. Did he say anything about taking Noah away? He took the bad people away. I want somebody, if you can find it in the Bible, kudos to you, because I've never been able to do it. If you know of one example where the bad people were left and the good people were gone, taken away, and you find that in the Bible somewhere, you show me. Type it in the comments below, whatever you want to do, because I have never been able to find it. He took Lot out of Sodom and Gomorrah and destroyed it. He took Noah, he put Noah in an ark. He said, look, I'm going to flood the earth and kill everybody. He said, I can't do it anymore. Bam, done. He's never taking the good people out and left the bad people. Now, he gives the good people an exit. Okay, we're going to go over here. I'm going to wipe this out, and then I'm going to let you come back. But he didn't rapture them out of there. Saying, oh, okay, I'm going to take you out. I'm going to handle all this, and I'm going to put you back. None of that ever happens. And did not know until the flood came and took them away. So also will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then the two will be left in the field. One will be taken, the other left. Guess which one will be taken? The two women will be grinding at the mill. One will be taken, the other will be left. Watch therefore, you do not know what hour your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. Therefore, you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at the hour you do not expect. Faithful servant and the evil servant. Now we're at Matthew 24:45. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master made ruler over his household, and to give them food in a due season? Blessed is he that servant whom is his master. When he comes, he will find so doing. Assuredly, I say to you that he will be making ruler over all good things. But if the evil servant says in his heart, my master is delaying his coming, and begins to beat his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunkards, the master of that servant will come on a day he is not looking for him, at an hour that he is not aware of, and will cut him in two, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. You are the faithful servant. We are the faithful servants. We don't know when he's coming. We'll see the signs. You can be standing there, you'll have your Bible open, because at that point they probably won't be legal anymore. You'll be sitting there reading your Bible and you're going, yep, that's it. Yep, that's what it says. Yep, we're into birth pains. We're moving right on down the road. So I need to get my house in order. And by my house, I mean you. Because you will have people in your household that do not agree with you. I hope not. I hope your literal household is pulling the same boat. Y'all are rowing in the same direction. Y'all are equally yoked, and y'all are tilling the ground. Like two oxen, just moving along. I pray that that's true. But in some people's cases, it will not be. Y'all have a great day. I'm going to jump off of here. Just felt really like I needed to get that out and done. If you have questions about anything, don't ever hesitate to stick them in the comments. I will get to them as quick as I can. Thank you for watching. Thank you for everything that you do. Y'all have a great day. Thanksgiving is tomorrow. Y'all have a fantastic time with your families. Praise the Lord that you're able to gather together. Give him all the thanks for everything that you have. Y'all continue to pray, prep, train when you can. My wife and I were trying to get to the rifle range a couple of days ago, but she hurt her shoulder and she's not able to shoot at the moment. So, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Y'all go prep something today. You're going through the grocery store buying last second items. Grab a couple cans of soup. Grab an extra 2 pounds of rice. Whatever you need to do to further kick that can down the road, do it. Prices are expensive. I mean, food is ridiculous. But if you can afford to grab something extra, that helps you down the road. If you can afford to do this and it gives you a little extra breathing room, do it. But y'all have a fantastic day. I also found these at Home Depot. A little bit of a prepper tip. These are the Write in the Rain all-weather universal notebooks. And if you can see, they have a little bit of a grid formation. I don't know if you can see that or not. Probably can't. But they have the lines and then they have grid formations going this way. So I like to build stuff. And that helps you with building. It helps you with grid formations. They also have measurements inside here. Conversion kits from metric to standard. It actually has a small ruler built in here as well. It's got English, it's got metric. it's got all kinds of stuff in here. It's a nice, fairly heavy plastic cover here. And of course it is right in the rain. So if you have one of their pens, you can write on here. Charcoal will write on here. And just a regular number 2 pencil. You can write on here. It gets wet. It doesn't go anywhere. It stays right there. So, and if you are doing any type of operations in the field, you need to do a grid survey on here. You need to do typographical work on here. These pages won't go anywhere. So they had them at Home Depot. You can pick them up about anywhere. They had them for like $3 or $4 at Home Depot, so I grabbed a couple extra ones. My wife bought me the big notebook a couple years ago for Christmas. That I keep all my stuff in for reloading and all that kind of stuff. But just a little helpful tent, little prepper thing going on there. I always like to, whatever we can do to help each other further down the road. But y'all have a great day. May God guide your steps. Talk to you later.